Good evening and welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and those who identifies otherwise for the SSRI SRO Qualifying Championship for the Grand Finals. Wow, that went well. Nevertheless, we have 3 rounds of intense racing to look forward to over the next 3 weeks, next 3 Tuesdays it will be. We are starting off here tonight at a fan favorite, of course. It is the virtual Silverstone circuit. Of course, we're still lining up on the old pit lane because of, well, ACC and stuff, but hey ho, it is still great, which means that we'll get Cubs as our first corner of the evening. High stakes for the drivers this evening as well. A lot of new names to the community we see on the grid, but we'll see how it goes. It always is what it is. These drivers will try and make this track their, like, painting board. They'll make every corner poetry and make speed the passion of their life coming into this race. Of course, top 2 in this championship will go on to represent the SSRI community at the SRO Grand Finals, so a lot of pressure on these guys. We have people of all sorts of skill levels. We have people that will be going very fast, we have people that will be going fast, and we have people that will be going this evening. And of course, here on Silverstone, it is always tricky. Overtakes can obviously be done here. We have seen good overtakes before, especially in the GT3 class, but staying close to the other drivers through Maggots and Bigots, trying to get the run onto the hangar straight, making the moves into Stove. Man, are we in for a treat tonight. The drivers are currently practicing as they have been doing for probably weeks on end at this point. They have basically bent time and space to have as much time possibly the last couple of weeks and the next couple of weeks to get the practicing in to prepare for these events. Well, we might see some of the drivers maybe draw a bit of practice if they have bad results tonight, but it is all to play for. Tonight we'll be having a 1-hour race, 60 minutes of racing here on Silverstone, with a mandatory pit stop of all crazy things to add into the mix. The drivers are obligated to change tires, that is mandatory, but fuel, that's very optional. Interesting to see if anyone will choose to go long on their tires and try to get a, well, sort of an overcut and avoid traffic when they come back out on track, or if it will be the meta to just box halfway through the race. We have a small risk of rain this evening as well. If it so on happens that it will be raining, it will be a very, very interesting event here on Silverstone. But of course it is England, or virtual England, so yeah, weather is always unpredictable. We will see what happens. Some of the names to look forward to seeing tonight will of course be community long-time drivers and legends like Sim Spinkelink, Michael Thomas. Just going on from an end. Ben, well, we could actually name all the drivers here and call them up by that, but they are just a few of the drivers that we'll be looking at. And of course the practice leader from the week leading up to the race, Andre Hipauf, which I'm definitely butchering the pronunciation of. You could probably help me out in YouTube chat, people out there who speaks a little bit of foreign language, as I obviously don't. And while butchering the names this evening, we will probably see a few of those. I believe it will be like 36 drivers that will line up for this race, qualifying first, of course. The drivers are currently in the middle of the final practice before the race. It will be a 20-minute qualifying session. Qualifying rules, as per usual here on the SSRI, you are allowed to return to garage if you so want, please. And of course, the grid will be determined by fastest lap times. You are not allowed to impede drivers on a flying lap if you are not on one yourself. So that's something to look out for. But if you are on a flying lap and the guy behind you is quicker, you are not obligated to move out of the way for him. Which means that track position might become a little bit of a challenge for some of the drivers around here. A 30+ car grid around Silverstone. Of course, Silverstone is a long track, but we might see some people get tangled up in traffic throughout qualifying this evening. One of the main things to look forward to this race tonight. We'll also be having live stewarding for the race, so if you see penalties popping out next to drivers' names, that is because our mighty crew of stewards have so deemed that they have been involved in incidents. Of course, with the ACC race control, we can track blue flag impediments, but drivers can report those after the race if they feel like there have been troubles with the blue flags. But of course, we'll have to see what happens in this race. Standard racing rules, as per usual with the flags. I guess people know them out there, but if you're new to racing in general or sim racing, we'll be seeing some yellow flags probably during the race, which means danger ahead. Green flag means the track is clear. White flag in ACC means final lap. The blue flags means that you have to move out of the way. I was just about to say a naughty word there, but I have been told not to for this evening's broadcast. Have to move your hiney out of the way for the faster drivers coming to lap you. And what else do we have of fun flags for events like this? Of course, we have the meatball flag, but that's very unlikely that we'll see that here on Silverstone, but that will mean that you'll have to box within the next 3 laps. Of course, causing a collision is heavily frowned upon, and you will be penalized if you do so. And other minor or other things that you could get slammed for by the stewards, such as aggressive driving, dangerous driving, unsafe rejoins, forcing another car off the track, and so on and so on. Ignoring blue flags are one of the main ones, though highly unlikely that too many drivers will be seeing those today if they stay out of incidents. But yeah, we will wait and see, as we are actually very close to move on to qualifying, and we'll get a first glimpse of the drivers this evening. The drivers, the mighty gladiators, battling it out, trying to conquer the Colosseum of racing that is the Simsport Racing International SSRO Qualifying Championship for the SRO Grand Finals. Yes, it's a lot of S's there. I think we'll just call it the in the future. Well, I'm being told that we can't call it that, but we'll see what happens. If there'll be nothing to talk about during the event, you might get a small cameo from Mr. Evil Twin, who is next to me at the minute. But highly unlikely with such a large field. We saw in practice that basically the entire field was within a second during the week. A few drivers just above, but a very large portion of these drivers do lap times within a second, at least in whatever trim they were running in their practice sessions. So how that will pan out for them tonight will be highly interesting to see. As we are about a minute away from live feeds from Silverstone. Well, we're actually closer than that, I'm being told in the back of my head. Some say I've watched. Hey, we were only a few seconds away. First pictures of the evening. Andrei Hipov in the BTL racing car. Number 141, one of the favorites for this evening's race here at Silverstone. He'll be interesting to follow around his qualifying, and whether or not that he can snatch that very important pole position here on Silverstone. Being able to control the field and the pace from the start of the race, that is a big advantage in a 1-hour event. And while waiting, just remember to hit the like and subscribe button and hit the notifications as well, and you might get notified when you can get to hear my lovely voice here on the YouTube channel, or maybe some of the other commentators if there is someone choose to be available. We don't have that large crew at the minute, but again, it is what it is. But I'm here, Grandpa Chris Hill, behind the cameras as always. Wow, look at that speed! Look at the speed we're going at already, and they're only going out of the pits. Maybe taking too much life out of the tires. We'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. But definitely starting to get into the zone the drivers are. If you have questions throughout the event, put them in the YouTube chat and I'll do my best to try and reply to as many as possible. You can have questions about the cars, the drivers, the championship, Le Moi self, the camera crew, the stewarding, basically anything. Put it out there as we see the drivers queuing up to get some space for their initial attempts at qualifying, or at least their first flying laps. Mr. Abi Nikale, also a quick driver we've seen in practice so far. Could be considered a favorite as well for reasonable times and good results here. Still on the out lap, I believe he is going at a very high pace, but he is in a somewhat of a good position here if the driver's head doesn't start to queue up too much leading on to the start-finish straight, as there are not a lot of well, there's a lot of room around him, is what I'm trying to say. If I sound a little bit off today, it is because I haven't had dinner yet, as I thought this would be an hour later, as I thought we was talking in British times, but apparently we were in all European as per usual. My mind is playing tricks on me, I suppose. Going around a driver that have started his flying lap, I believe, maybe not. I can maybe get that confirmed in the back of my head. Michael Thomas, another of the forehand favorites, defending SSRI GT3 champion. Very interesting to see what he can do in these 3 races. He will have to defend his title, of course, and show what he can do. No Potter's King. Well, Mike Thomas King, no Potter's King. Well, you can discuss that between yourselves. I will not put anything out there, but Mr. Harry Potter is of course a fine race driver as well. But Michael Thomas here around the final couple of corners for the first time this evening. Maybe, yes, it's still the out lap, as the current lap says almost 8 minutes, so I assume that it's the out lap, or it will be a very bad qualifying at least. But away he goes. No, that was a time lap. Man, my telemetry is playing tricks on me. But first time on the board came from Michael Thomas, and provisional pole for him with 4 drivers already up there. 1:57.2 quick time, but we are expecting the times to drop even further during qualifying, as both Hip Half and Sim Spenkelink, other drivers that we're expecting up there, put times on the board as well, though half a second to find for Mr. Hip Half so far. But again, only 1 run in, and maybe tires wasn't optimum for the first run. I do believe he's on an invalid lap this time around, so that's not optimum for him either, as I find it myself that usually it's the second time around on the racetracks where you find the most time and do the optimum times with tire pressures and fuel loads in the car as well. Also interesting to see the qualifying strategies of the cars, whether or not the people opt to go for fresh tires during qualifying, or if they will stay out on track throughout the entirety of the session to just try and get as many laps in as possible. Abi Nikala goes quickest, 57.1 is the time to beat at the minute, though following Sim Spenkelink, who is improving on his current fastest lap in the Lamborghini, though not by enough to threaten for pole, unless if he finds a large amount of time here through the third and final sector, up by 0.2 before Village and the loop. Onto the Wellington straight, he will go very difficult corner leading out there. So important to get early on the throttle, but so difficult as you're coming from such low speeds. Mr. Spenkelink still improving. Actually found quite a bit of time there, up by half a second at this point. This could put him within the top 3 if he keeps up the pace. 1 corner to go and a slight kink. Not the kinkiest of stuff, but it is still there. Just the first one to go in for fresh tires in qualifying. On to the start-finish straight we go. Simsport puts a time in, only enough for 4th at the minute. Still needs to find 2 tenths to get up there for Mr. Simsport. So Soenpo, yeah, we'll pronounce it like that. Soenpo up by 3 tenths. He could potentially also find some time in the final sector, the final couple of corners, as his final sector haven't been the best so far. Rounding Brooklyn and into the corner I always forget the name of. Yes, very professional. Lovefield. Yes, it's Lovefield. If you are concerned about my mental health, if you think that I'm talking to myself, it's just our lovely camera crew in the background. Good time there from Sarapo into 3rd position in the 230 McLaren. Strong performance from him. Abi Nikala improves to 57 flat. We still have seen quicker times during practice throughout the week. So I don't think that we have seen the pole time yet. The 6th. Why do people have such long names? Jesus Christ. Prendergrass improving on his lap time in the Audi. Not many Audis on track. Good to see some variation of cars. We do have this Soul Audi and a Nissan further down the field as well. Interesting to see what he can do in this mighty machine. Around Lovefield he goes and onto the start-finish straight with a slight kink coming through. Improvement is up for grabs for him by 0.1 at the minute. Where will he go? 2nd quickest. I think Soren Po are quite quick at the minute from 4th. Following him now as he's coming in. A bit of traffic ahead of him. Will this impede his qualifying lap? We'll have to wait and see traffic get somewhat out of the way. It looks like though traffic is not on a hot lap. It looks like on my telemetry, and he is definitely getting in the way there. And that was basically all the time lost there from Soren Po. He can't be too pleased about that, as he will have to go again. If he have fuel in the tank, doesn't look like it, he'll go for fresh tires and a new tank of fuel. Abi Nikala still improving by 0.3 at the minute. This could be getting into potential pole position territory with the lap times. Rounding Lovefield in the Ferrari. Only the king to go. Quite the improvement so far, losing a little bit there out of Lovefield, but only the king to go. Let's see what times he can put on. I think we'll go into the 56s this time around for Abi Nikala. The Lebanese driver puts it on even further. Provisional pole position up by 0.4 to P2 at the minute, though. 2nd and 3rd are extremely close out there on time-wise. Mr. Andy Potter King improving by half a second at the minute from 15th position. Where will this put him? He still have a full sector to go off the track. Still plenty of time to improve or lose time as Mr. King is coming around. I have had the enjoyment on commentating on races with this guy previously. Quick shout out to him from the PS UK Esports team. Through Brooklyn and into Lovefield he goes in his Ferrari. This could potentially put him up to 2nd best Ferrari on the grid if he keeps up time. Let's just have a little wait and see. Taking full advantage of the track there. Only enough for 14th, 3rd in the Ferrari Cup basically. Having a scroll around improving times. No one threatening for top times at the minute though. Michael Thomas are improving, and it could potentially be putting him a few positions up. Well, a few positions will obviously put him onto the front row, but let's see what Michael Thomas can do. Coming around, hello, here to support Samuel Jair from Rebellion Autosports. Good luck all and have a fun race. Kind messages in the YouTube chat still at this point, but again we haven't started racing yet. Michael Thomas onto the start-finish straight, also taking full advantage of the track on the inside, making the run as short as possible, enough for third. Still about 4 tenths to find for Mr. Michael Thomas to sneak in pole position here at Silverstone. But again, dry conditions for the practice so far. The 10th position car, best Aston Martin at the minute. Mr. Andre Guidice, maybe. SJ the best, looks like it, maybe. We'll see. Who's SJ? Put a full name on that man. As Guidice puts it into 7th position on the grid. Best placed Aston Martin. I was about to say best placed front engine car, but of course Michael Thomas is still up there in 3rd position. 8 minutes of qualifying to go. Mr. Filbarazzi following him around 17th at the minute. Whether or not that's an outlap or a flying lap, it is hard to see on my telemetry as I still only have the one monitor, so it's halfway across the screen for me. Not the easiest to look at while doing this, but Mr. Filbarazzi at least on for a good one, good finishing positions in the 2nd tier of the SSRI. Previously, Sarapon in 6th position, jumping quickly onto him as he is looking for some slight improvements. With just a few corners to go, 2 corners and a kink to be precise. Brooklyn, Lovefield and the kink, which I have named it. Probably have a funny British name. But we'll see what goes on. Through the kink he goes, still up by his personal best, but only 1 tenth could put him up by a bit. Seemed to be not getting the best of exits there out of Lovefield. Let's see across the line, no improvement it seems like. But hey ho, I see, what is that? I think that's Prendergast, who is up by quite a bit further down the field in the Audi. But Sarapon trying for another one, it looks like, on a bit of traffic. Jumping down to the Audi driver. Through the Grand Prix start finish he goes. Slight improvement there coming through. Fast lap time, hard car to control the Audi, or at least the old one was. I haven't, to be honest, driven the Evo 2 that much myself. They do say it's become a lot more controllable since the first Evo of the Audi R8. But I guess it's still for the acquired taste of drivers during that car. I must say, putting that car within the top 5 are a true masterpiece, and that's a poetry on the track. If he succeeds with that. Through Brooklands, he goes into Lovefield. A little bit of a lag as we go onto the Soul Nissan on the track. Good to see the beastie boy out there. I think that Preston Gross might have had a disconnect there as he's no longer on the server, it looks like. Still have time to come back into it and claim his current fastest time in qualifying, as we still have 2 drivers who are yet to set lap times in this qualifying sessions. Roman Goli are one of them, as Abramov in one of the 3 McLarens in the top 5. Seems to be out there trying to improve. Lost a bit there through the slow corners, but he will surely get back onto it, as he still have 5 more minutes to go. Sarapon didn't leave the saver, he was just no, that wasn't Sarapon, that was the other guy who was moving away, but he still have time to rejoin before the race and claim his time from qualifying, of course. As Sarapon have gone into 2nd position, demoting Michael Thomas to the 2nd row of the grid. Thomas can't be too happy about that, but we'll see if he can do some improvements here in the last 4.5 minutes, plus the lap that they have started. Of course, when the timer runs out, you are still allowed to finish the lap that you are currently on, but you cannot start a new lap after the timer have run out, then it is qualifying over. In current 9th position, though he won't be for long. Putchapoin comes up to 5th with that lap time, demoting quite a few guys a spot down. Good improvement there. from the Ferrari driver as he pulls over. He'll probably be going for one final run here in qualifying. Drivers who haven't left the pits with a little bit of a spin there from 11th place to Braxted. As I was saying, people who haven't left the pits with 2 minutes remaining will not have enough time to go out and get a flying lap in the VARD. Good to see him back racing. Driver who has become quite a legend in the community as he have returned to sim racing after a very horrible stroke early, or well, last year I think it was, at the endurance event. A lot of scared people after that one, but good to see Bavard back on it after a small hiatus from racing as he have been recovering, as he is back on track for this mighty event. Down in 27th position at the moment in the McLaren, improving actually on his lap time that could put him a few places up the grid if he continues the pace. Let's see what he can do as Bavard rounds Brooklyn, and will have Lovefield to navigate and the kink. Lost some of his time there, but can he get a good enough run out of Lovefield? Then he will improve. Still doesn't look like it. Unfortunate for Shuk Bavard there. As he comes across the line, he'll start one more lap. He have two still if he can still do two if he have enough fuel in the tank and doesn't wreck it completely. Ben Mullard in 12th position, haven't had the greatest of qualifyings, at least for his standards, but the Porsche could be a difficult one, although we have seen him driving that quite a bit, up into 10th for Ben Mullard. He surely still have a lot of time to find in that Porsche. Maybe not the most suitable car for Silverstone. In 17th position, Papin in the Aston Martin, improving by a good half a second almost as he comes through Lovefield onto almost finishes lap. He will be finishing the lap. One more attempt for him. 11th position at the minute. Good lap for Papin there in the Aston Martin. Remember, drivers in the pit lane now will not be coming back out on track as they don't have enough time to go around and start a qualifying lap. Schubert in 25th position, improving as well in the Ferrari, though not the greatest of corners there, but potentially still an improvement for him, as it actually seemed to be an improvement on what he did earlier on here in qualifying. Not the greatest of corner sequences there though. With 1 minute to go in qualifying, we are really getting into the tense end of things for the drivers. They really have to get the full focus on for the final minute of qualifying. Of course, if you start a lap now, you will be on your final lap. So interesting for the drivers and their performance throughout the event, as it just looks like Sherbert goes into the pits. Perlone, the Italian driver, in 20th position, giving him a little bit of screen time as well in the Audi now. Improving his lap actually by quite the margin. This could potentially put him quite far up the grid, even plentiful within the top 10 if he could keep up the pace. Lost a bit there through Village and Auntie. Definitely butchering that name. You can clearly hear that I'm not not English of native speaking. Little bit of a slide there coming into to Brooklyn for the Aston Martin driver. Still potentials for big improvements through Lovefield. He goes, takes the white line to cut back into the apex. Qualifying is over. The checkered flag is out, so people who are finishing the laps now will be done. Same goes for the people in the pits. People who are blue on the track map as well are done with qualifying. As Pallone comes across the line, looking at the timing board, if people are improving, not that many. Michael Thomas is close to his best lap time so far in qualifying, so he could potentially find some time through the final couple of corners, or the last sector of the track, we should say. Michael Thomas goes on to the Wellington Straight for the final time in qualifying. Will it be enough to take down Abinekale from pole position? We'll have to wait and see. Abinekale is definitely watching this from the pit lane. crossing his fingers that Michael Thomas will not find 0.3 of a second as he comes around the final corners. He just goes into the pits there. He probably wasn't too happy there from the time he had set. Andriy Hipov still on a valid depth, close to improving, coming across the line. No fifth for him so far. Sarapur, one of the drivers who are still out there on the track, 8th position, winning, are also out there improving actually on his personal best from qualifying so far down the Wellington Straight, though it's by a fraction of a second. Basically into Brooklyn for the final time for him he goes, as I believe that he's the only driver yet to finish qualifying here in the first round of the SSRI SRO Grand Finals Qualifying Championship. Coming across the kink and across the line he goes. As we now have a starting grid for the race. Good qualifying there. I'll try to run you through the qualifying order in just a second. Just boom, boom, boom. Some pop-ups popped up my screen there that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, well, it is what it is. Trying to get things sorted here. Boom, 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 boom. Do something like this and like this and something like this and like this. Yes, great qualifying there from the drivers. 5 minutes until we roll out onto the formation lap. So people out there in the chats, this is the time to go to the toilet or get a snack, get a drink, get whatever you like to prepare yourself for a very intense hour of racing. We will be having a full formation lap around Silverstone before the drivers get to put the pedal to the metal, as they say. For, well, just over 30 laps we could expect from these drivers if the track conditions stay clear. Have to wait and see when we get cameras on the server whether or not that that we have clear weather for the event. As I'm just waiting for the command to see if we can go through the grid order. Still not there, I believe, but almost I'm being told. Well, it is early in the evening. Is Oliver going to shout again? We are racing. Probably I will. You know, that's one of the best parts of these streams, when we are about to go racing and we all are very excited and tense, nervous, just as nervous as the drivers almost. We are here in the commentary booth when they go around the final corner and line up for the start of these races. It's not a 3-minute pause. It is a dramatic pause for effect. God damn it, why are people always mocking me? Maybe we should find a new community, Chris, to do this. No, I'm being told that we can't do that. But no, we'll see what the magic words will be when we get there. As we have cameras on the grid, as we will be trying to run you through the starting order in, and yes, I will be butchering a lot of names during this. On the front row of the grid and in pole position, Abine Carley with Sarapur next to him, Ferrari and McLaren there. Michael Thomas in third, with Abramov in fourth, taking the second grid, or second row of the grid. Hipov and Predengrass, who did make it back on the server on time, his Audi takes the third row of the grid in 5th and 6th, 7th position. Pohopian and Viing in 7th and 8th, 9th position. Goodice and Sim Spenkelink will round out the top 10. Ben Mullert in 11th and Papin in 12th. I'm just trying to keep up with Chris here, with Costa and Barkstedt in 13th and 14th, Nick Vargas in 15th position, and Jaya in 16th, White in 17th, with Andy King, Mr. Potter himself, next to him in 18th, Bill Baracci and Lima in 19th and 20th, rounding out the top 20, and on the 11th row of the grid, Piloni and Van Dam, which we'll definitely not be making fun of during the race. And Salone and Crimson with the Nissan in 23rd and 24th position. Parties and Schubert behind those guys. Ross and Vivard in 27th and 28th. Melis and remarkably Noli in 29th and 30th, and on the back row of the grid we have Paris and Van Dosberg, and no, it is not the Checo Paris, but yeah, that is the grid that we'll be having for you guys for this great evening of racing. The drivers are now doing their final preparations for the race, getting the MFDs set up so they have nothing to worry about in the race, getting the pit stop strategy set up correctly, and of course just trying to imagine what will be going on through the first corner, imagining the other drivers' lines and a lot of different scenarios, thinking of what to do if the driver ahead does this or two drivers ahead does that. Can I sneak it up the inside? Will I have to go to the hero line on the outside? Of course, there's a lot of runoff through cups here on Silverstone, so that will be one of the things that some of the drivers might be looking to take some advantage of. We'll have to wait and see. On board from Ari Nikala as he drops from the jacks with less than 30 seconds to go before we roll out onto the formation lap. And while we're at it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for epic racing and random yelling during the broadcast, of course, which you'll get as well. Notification button, and you'll get notified when we're about to go live with races. 5 seconds left before we hear the roars of the engines and the cars roll out onto the formation lap as the command is given for the drivers to start, though not a lot of movement. There we go. Arvin Nikale rolls out with a lot of cars behind him who will be very willing to try and overtake him. 31 cars behind him to be exact, as we have 32 cars in the race. Getting some good looks of the cars around the formation lap, of course. Arvin Nikale, what will be going through his mind? He will be the driver to beat from pole position here on Silverstone. We have seen moves on the first lap before and the leads being lost when we go through the first couple of corners. But having Maggots and Begets as turn 2 and 3, that are difficult ones, as it is not the most optimum corners to go side by side through, but a lot of drivers will definitely not have fallen into single file at that point. As always, we'll try and get as many replays as possible. Ooh, we see a driver there lacking into the pits. Who was that? I wonder if we are still 32. We are still 32 on the grid, so that could just have been a visual glitch on the server. I think it was, as all the drivers are still there and here and ready. Some drivers doing the weaving to warm up the tires. Other drivers prefers not to do so, and just using the brakes to get as much temperature into the tires as possible. At least getting them into the optimum temperature range, I should say. Is getting too much would not be a preferable option before race starts. But of course, getting the brakes up into temperature are one of the more important things before a race start, because going into turn 1 with cold brakes usually means trouble for the drivers ahead. Be interesting to see who practiced the pit entry good enough, especially if the entry board gets yeeted early. Yes, that will be one of the things to look out for. I do assume that most of these drivers have practiced it, or at least knows from previous races around a track like Silverstone, as that is one of the more common tracks to pop up in race calendars here on ACC, as it is a very good track for racing. And of course, all the Brits they want it on there as probably the best British track out there for racing, though I personally prefer Brands Hatch in my own humble opinion. Totally not because of good results there earlier. No, nothing to do with that. But yeah, final bit of warming getting into the tires, as will not be that far away from the drivers lining up in double file and getting ready for the race. This is the time where you have to control your nerves, your feet, your arms, your head, your mind. Everything needs to be optimum for this event. Hopefully the drivers are hydrated enough for 1 hour of intense racing. It doesn't look like they'll be getting much hydration from the skies this evening, as at least the next 30 minutes of racing will be in very sunny conditions here on Silverstone. 29-degree track temperature, 22 ambient, no wind at all for the drivers this evening. well, it looks to be somewhat daytime in the game, but evening for most European watchers. Of course, there could be Americans out there, and it will be, well, in the afternoon, of course, almost close to actual in-game time, depending on where you are, of course, in the Americas, as the drivers have lined up in double file. And rounding Love-field, the slowest probably they will go this evening, as the drivers come on to the start-finish line. And just for the fans out there who likes dramatic pauses, ladies, gentlemen, those who identify otherwise, we are very shortly about to be racing! Just a second too early there. Reasonable start from Michael Thomas, who goes out there. Looks like Sarapon got the jump of Arbi Nakala there through turn 1 and taking the lead of the race initially. Michael Thomas also applying the pressure to Arbi Nakala earlier on. Yes, we know you like the dramatic pause out there. Good aerial view here through Magnussen Beckers. Few cars going wide, then crashing already in the background, as most cars seem to be going through unscathed, but some people have parked it already in the background. It does look like the McLaren there got the run into Cubs and got a great start. Michael Thomas goes to the inside there, a little bit of argy-bargy through Stove. Very close behind goes Michael Thomas, but drops out of the bump drafting. He does, lining up behind. So it is Sarapon with Arbi Nakale behind. Michael Thomas, Abranov and Prestagest is the top 5 after one sector of racing. Onto the Grand Prix start finish there. A little bit of a showing there from Prestagest in the background, trying to maybe psych out his opposing drivers, as he is now getting pressured from behind. That's Hipov, who comes in for the outside move. At least he tries to, but not enough there. He'll try to get earlier on the throttle onto the Wellington straight, trying to control the car, not getting any wheel spin. Does look like he succeeded with that, but did he get the run too early? As this could be a potential move into Brooklyn. Did I just turn off YouTube chat? No, I didn't. But no, not close enough. At least just trying to play it safe initially off the start for Hipov there. As he well, did he get? No, he falls in behind. I just thought he was the blue car, but that's of course the Prendergast in the mighty Audi, only Audi on the track tonight, I do believe. Through Cubs we go. Difficult to be close to each other through Cubs, Maggots and Beckett's, but it's still early on in the race, so tires should still be good enough for it. A lot of people taking the inside there. They do need to be a little bit careful about pressure losses by cutting the curbs too much, but of course most of these drivers will probably dive into the pits after just half an hour of racing to change the tires for fresh, sleeker sets of rubbers. Virtual Pirelli rubbers, that is, of course, and not the ones that you use later at night. I think we can say that. I think totally can. Anyways, it would be weird if I would use those if I am a single man, of course. Where's this accent from? It is obviously a very Scandinavian accent. I am very Danish, the Viking warrior himself. As Prendergast is still applying the pressure to Abramov, it looks like that he's actually getting a little bit closer to him than Hipov is to the rear of Prendergast. But holding out for the top 5 at the minute. Just a quick reminder, this championship is all about getting top 2 at the end of the championship to qualify as an SSRI driver for the SRO Grand Finals. To representing us, interesting that Phil Baracci have fastest lap at the minute early on in the race. But Michael Thomas here in 3rd position. He's actually running up with Arbi Nakale as the minute, as Sarapon already have a gap of 1.2 seconds. Maybe Arbi Nakale is a little bit too pressured by Michael Thomas and focusing a little bit too much in the rearview mirrors, considering that he did have the potential for a win very quick lap times, both in practice and in the qualifying as well, putting it on pole position. Let's see if the fastest lap gets snatched as we go across. It does onto lap 2. It is Saranpo who stole it there. Away from Filbaracci who claimed it for lap 1. Good for him, of course, as he is not one of the drivers that we're expecting to be all the way near the front, but he can still do get some cameos, of course. Through Maggots and Beggots we go. Onto the hangar straight we will be running. And seeing if anyone will be close enough into Stove. Doesn't look like it, at least from the top guys. They are about to go into the period of the race. Good run there from Michael Thomas. Looks like that BMW have almost unlimited straight line speed compared to the Ferrari there of Arvi Nicale. But at this point, we have a car in the pit already. At this point in the race, it's almost like a strategic game of chess. When do you start pressuring the driver ahead of you, and when do you not? I think we have a replay of something that happened earlier on in the race lined up in the background. If I understood the message in my ear, I think I did. Let's see what happened here, lap 1. I think that's Phil Baracci in the Aston, but I don't think he gets involved. No, it's further up the field as two cars collide there, and then cars trying to avoid further down, checking up, and causing a little bit of contact there between each other. But not too many people out there. Hashtag one in the pits, that is Melis, whose game crashed, I'm being told by our grateful YouTube audience, as we are right back into the action as Michael Thomas is very close now to Arvi Nicale, and he's starting to drive a little bit of a train there, Arvi Nicale, with both Ambrov, Prestagard and Hipalf, and even Vinning is getting into this train. Michael Thomas do have a run into Cubs, it looks like. Will he try and go for it? No, he just bomb drafts Arvi Nicale. That looks like really applying pressure. That's showing that he is a lot quicker, but running wide there through Cubs. He goes into Maggots and Beggots. He is a sportsman and backs off that one as he knows he can't gain an advantage by going off track. But he is close enough. If he gets the run out of Chapel, he could potentially go for the move into Stove. But look at that, all drivers are getting very close to each other. Who will have the strongest slipstream coming down the hangar straight? And will Arvi Nicale be able to defend from the BMW? Michael Thomas does get the run. He goes for the inside. Looks like as Arvi Nicale tried to defend it. Michael Thomas makes a move for second position. Does he get a stop in time? Yes, he does. Second position for Michael Thomas with still 53 minutes of racing to go. Can he catch up to Saranpo in first, or will he get put immediately under pressure again from Arvi Nicale? And further down there's a position change as well. Looks like the Audi there of Prestagard goes wide, and Hipalf goes into 5th position. Snatching that away from the Audi driver, but close together. We go into a Grand Prix Turn 1 that also have the name of Abby, of course. Good stuff there from the drivers. Looks like Prestagard there just chose to back out, being smart about it, as he knows it is a championship, and risking it all in race 1 normally doesn't do much good for championship contentions. But yeah, some of the drivers will probably have to start risking a bit further down the field if they want to get up to the top positions. Some of the drivers that we were expecting earlier still seem to be struggling further back, as Arvi Nicale is under pressure now from, I think that's Abramov, who gets close to him. Doesn't look like that Nicale have the pace of the from qualifying here in the race, or maybe he's just a little bit nervous, as it is a high-stake race, of course. It's the Lebanese driver and the Ukrainian trying to get on it here early on in the race. Two nationalities that we don't see that much in virtual racing, which is a bit of a shame, as we do like to see some good country flags out there representing their nations, of course. With it looks like that Abramov could be pressured by Hipalf as well. This could very quickly turn into a 3-car battle for 3rd position in the race. Interesting if anyone gone to low fuel levels. Whoop, that was that Arvi Nicale there. I think it was Arvi Nicale who went wide at Stove. That is not optimum for his race. Let's see if he can claw some positions back later on. But this does promote Abramov into 3rd position in the race. He'll now have to get chase to Michael Thomas in 2nd, as Arvi Nicale drops to 8th position after starting from pole. Let's keep an eye on his progression during the race and see if he can reclaim some of the lost ground. He will not be happy with himself, the outbraking himself into to Stove corner. It is a difficult braking zone, as most people, they do tend to start trail braking at the end of the corner, and getting that just a little bit wrong with two rearwards or two frontwards brake bars, you will lock up the front, or even too far rearwards, you could maybe potentially lock those up and get into a slide. It is one of those times where you have to be as gentle as a ballerina when you go through the corner. Of course, these cars do have TC and ABS. Here's a little bit of a replay of what happened with him. Let's see if he takes too much curb, maybe, or maybe even some grass. Whoa, he just gets in front of the car there on the curb, and it just sort of looks like it bounces a little bit weirdly for him there. That car is definitely not set up to do the curbs, it looks like. That was very unfortunate for him. Maybe a little bit of an inconsistency there from the car, or maybe the suspension was a little bit too pressed with the medium fuel usage of the cars at the minute. But third place is under pressure from Hiphav. That is Victor Abramov, and in a double McLaren battle there, not the greatest of lines there from Abramov, as Hiphav could potentially now get the run down the hangar straight. Does look like Stove are the corner to overtake at the moment. Here at the Silverstone track, he chooses to defend the inside line. Will that be the thing to do, as he does force Hiphav all the way outside? Who gets early on the throttle? Potential overtake into the next corner. He does have the run there, Hiphav, but will the will Abramov back out of it? No, they're still side by side. There, he just have to back out of that one. Hiphav does go wide there, but no advantage seems to be gained, to be honest. Now Abramov is immediately under pressure by the Audi, who once again smart driving there from Prendergast, backing out of that one. Good mix of cars in the top 10 is being mentioned in the YouTube chat, and yes, it is actually a very good mix of cars in the top 10 and in the race in general. Not that many cars not being, or manufacturers not being represented of the actual competitive cars. I would actually say all the competitive cars are here. Everyone knows that I'm a sucker for the Lexus myself, and in recent times the Mustang, because of the immense sound of that V8. The 195 seems to have lost it out of Abbey and into Farm. You can see by the white marking on the track that he's a slow car moving. He was a yellow dot before, which means that it's a car causing a yellow flag. Woo, someone's going a little bit wide on the background of these cars, dropping a few positions there. Papin on it, onto a 7th position early on in the race, with being directly ahead of him. But look at this, from 3rd position and then all the way down to 9th. No one are more than just over half a second between each other. This is really the time where you have to think, oh, it's actually a good livery on this car. It reminds me of the old Braun GP cars from way back when. Maybe that's a good omen of luck, having a Braun GP style livery here on Silverstone. We'll have to wait and see. And Prendergast now threatens a bit on the inside there, forcing Abramov to take a slightly off line there to leave the room on the inside. He could have just shut the door, but not taking any risks, as these drivers will be trying to give chase to the top guys who have just run away. It looks like Sarapov, but he's not actually pulling away from Michael Thomas, and Hiphav are falling down a little bit to Michael there, but Michael Thomas and Sarapov are quite equal in lap times at the minute. This could just be the matter of whether or not that one of the drivers makes a mistake later on in the race. The SRO Esports driver of Kieran Prendergast here in the low Audi. It is a bit surprising that not more people choose the Audi. It is a acquired taste to drive the Audi, of course, as mentioned earlier. But if you know how to drive it, it is a beast of a machine and can do some real damage to other drivers. Did he have to lift out there to avoid running into the back of Abramov, as he had a masterful run there out of the corner? Tries the outside dangerous corner to try it, as it does, as on the inside just tend to come in that little bit of argy-bargy, but clean enough overtake from Prendergast, it looks like, as Abramov immediately gets put under pressure by Wiesing, but gets defending it, as Wiesing couldn't get early enough on the front to really threaten there. But looks like it's a side-by-side into Cubs this time. Andy King apparently in the YouTube chat. I thought you were racing, Mr. King. Maybe you had some hardware issues once again, but the side-by-side there in the background looks like that that no positions was changed, as Winning still is ahead of Papin. Through that corner, 15 minutes of racing have already passed, which means we are quarter through the race. As grass is being kicked up there through Cobb's corner. No, not Cobb's. What am I talking about? That is, of course, Chapel. Why do I get corners confused? As he tries to move down the background, then the Braun car. Kudais makes a move and gets the overtake as well on Arvin Nikale, as Arvin Nikale drops yet another position in the race. Andy King got killed in lap 1. Looks like he was one of the cars involved in the big incident there. Unfortunate for you, Mr. King. I hope we'll see you back racing next week, at least going for a glory run, trying to sneak some good positions. The first penalty from the stewards have been applied now to Crimson in the Nissan. It looks like, I don't have a sheet where I can see for what, but I assume causing a collision early on in the race. As Papin looks racing now, very close there to Winning. Dives it up on the inside, but just enough space between them not to make contact there. I don't think you could have been closer without touching each other. Only a pube between them there. Well, can we say that on the stream? I think we made that on the stream. I think that's a grey area maybe. But Abramov in the offensive now on Prince Dagard, as these two drivers seems to be quite glued together last couple of laps. Good clean racing between these two, at least so far. But hard racing, still clean but hard. That's what we like to see. Some yellows were briefly caused as yellows go up again. In I think that is in Village, maybe it looks like on the track map, or the loop, maybe one of the two at least in that section of the track or area of the track. But yeah, Abramov's still on it. I'm just trying to have a look if there are other battles further down the grid. Doesn't look like there are any battles that are closer than this here up in the front. A bit sorry to the back markers, don't get as much screen time when intense action happens in the front of the field, but that is how racing goes. As we do try to make a as reasonable product as possible here on the Simsport Racing International YouTube channel as we possibly can. Here's a little bit of a replay of no, that's actually live. I was just confused with the no overlays. We are still live with some of the back markers that are battling the Nissan of Crimson and White, Stuart White, the PS UK Esports driver remaining in the race. 10-second penalty have been applied to Barksted as well, who's the first driver to serve his penalty, so that penalty will not be served until after the race from him. I assume he was involved in the early crash as well. As White will definitely be trying to get around that Nissan, but it's so difficult to overtake a Nissan, as that Nissan have crazy top end speed. You wouldn't expect it from a car that big, but it is very quick. The what is that? I think that's Winning, who have been involved in something further up the field, as he's dropping like a fly at the minute on the timing board down to 12. We might actually see these two drivers get close to Winning at some point if Winning have taken damage from whatever happened to him. Yeah, that's the white BMW ahead of these guys. That's Winning. Winning must have dropped to, what's that, 15th position then, as he will have a recovery drive ahead of him for the remainder of the race. He was up there in the front earlier on, of course, in the train for top positions. As yeah, not that good for him. Maybe we can have a little bit of a look at Winning, as he will probably be trying to make some quicker inroads on cars ahead of him to gain some positions back. But White actually gets a massive run there out of Cobbs, as he tries the outside into Magus and Beckett. Split cameras now with Winning applying the pressure to one of the Italian drivers, I believe, but White decides to back out of that one. But Winning definitely on the move. Looks like he got a great run there out of Chapel. Let's see if he will make the first position up into Stove. Doesn't look like he's close enough to the Aston Martin, as the Aston also have quite a good of a top end in races like these, or at least in bobs like these. A little bit of an ooh moment, as I was just trying to pull up some telemetry as that was happening. as Winning just go through the Aston Martin and promotes himself into 13th position as White as well in no, he hasn't made the move yet, he's still behind the Nissan. But Winning made the first of the many overtakes that he'll have to do in the race. Here with just about 10 minutes until the what we would assume to be optimum pit window for the cars. As Winning will try the next Aston Martin up ahead of him. I think the next Aston Martin for Winning will be Phil Baracci, one of our former Tier 2 drivers, as more penalties are being applied, but I can't really read them on my screen as they are very small on my board, but I do have a way that I could actually just check it. It's a drive-through for Andy King for some reason, who is back on the server. I wonder what that is for. Maybe he's just logged on to try and serve a penalty to not carry something into the next race, maybe. But yeah, it is what it is. White is still going at it heavily on that Nissan ahead of him, of Crimson, of course, that is. As he'll be trying it at some point, but it doesn't seem that he have the overspeed anywhere to go through. Drive-through for driver Philip. It could be track limits, of course. That's Papin, who's got that from 6th position. That is very unfortunate for him, as he's in a little bit of a battle here, but he'll have to serve that within 3 laps, and that will surely drop him down the running order and put a little bit of a spanner in the works for him in this race, as he will then also be on the recovery drive. That was, I think that was Papin actually running wide there at so he jumped into the pits. I think that he have realized that he probably is not going to win this race at this point. A bit unfortunate for him there with the drive-through, but that's how racing goes, and maybe not that much on for the recovery drive, as White is now very close to Crimson ahead of him. We know that in the pits, Crimson will have to be stationary for 5 seconds additional to his pit stop, and it will be 30 seconds to change tires and maybe some damage repairs as well. As we did see these two drivers being very close to the action there on lap 1. But yeah, that is how the racing goes, as White will be having close to a run, but again, not an optimum place to overtake for the Menace. As we are back with the racing, sorry for that brief interference in my voice of speaking, sort of say. No fancy stuff have happened while we have been away, it seems like. Battle for both, what would that be, 14th and 16th at the minute. Very close to each other, these two battle groups, as we can just sneak the top left screen battle in the bottom right when they come around certain corners of the track. As I don't think we'll see Papin be returning to the track in this event, unfortunate for him. There, I do believe that the battle packs that we are looking at is Crimson and White, and then Lima and Puchopin. I think he is the other driver. Yeah, I just put additional letters into people's names for unknown reasons. Of course, from what I can see at DT, I do believe that DT was track limits. I don't have the sheet open actually to check what the penalties are for unknown reason, but you can maybe put that in the YouTube chat if someone sees it being posted somewhere. But yeah, it is difficult to follow on with a dual screening, as I'm using my special vision to see two things at once, trying to multitask the battling Puchopin there in the 444 Ferrari. But again, it's two Ferraris next to each other on track. Then it'll be all down to setups and how they drive the cars, basically, whether or not that he can get that move done. And that might also be the reason why White can't get the move done on Crimson, as that Nissan is just so fast down the straights that it is very difficult to get a good run on him. Oh, contact there just above them. That's Phil Baracci and another driver who's involved there. So they go NASCAR formation, side by side, two down the field. Another 5-second penalty pops in. I know that's just that's the same one I just noticed once again. But this is some tense action now. Now that it's a battle group that's forming down here. We have what, like 5-6 cars running close to each other. I think we could maybe move it up to just one screen at this point, trying to get everything on. Then I can also read the timing boards on the left-hand side of the screen. At least try to Spinkling, and Nick Vargas goes into the pits. We know that Bas van Medis, at least out there, is keeping a close eye on his usual endurance and sprint racing teammate Nick Vargas. Pepalone and Puchapin into the pits as well. Yes, my Italian pronunciation is just, it's just right on point, I assume. They're trying the undercut. We have seen the undercut as well in the sprint season being very strong on some tracks, mostly for the tier 2 cars and teams there, but it might work for drivers on this level as well. As the battling here is from Crimson, it's Phil Baracci, it's White, it's Lima as well in the battle, just in the background there in the Ferrari. Just saying, there's not much going up on further off the field. This is the best action on the track at the minute, as we know that Phil Baracci, podium driver from, I believe he finished in the top 3 in the silver tier as well, or silver class. So he'll get promoted to tier 1, I believe, for next season. I don't have the standings next to me, but I do seem to remember that was a thing that happened to him championship-wise. I think that or at least Phil Baracci back there, he is praying for Crimson to dive into the pits early, and he might not be enjoying the defending of Crimson, as he has to save a penalty. But to be honest, Crimson's not doing that much of a defensive drive. He's just making the apexes and driving that Nissan, as Phil Baracci is forced to go defensive there from White, who's coming from behind, trying for the overtake. But not successful, that as they lost a little bit of ground there to Crimson ahead of them. But yeah, let's see if they can catch up, or if Crimson actually gets a chance now to pull a bit away and pull out a gap of 5 seconds. He might be the one trying to undercut the cars behind him, which is a bit of an off strategy usually, but as he is on as he will have to stop for 5 seconds additional to the other guys. Phil Baracci goes for the undercut, as Arvin and Carley have gone into the pits as well from 8th position, and he'll drop as well from that. He is still one of the drivers who could be interesting to see where he finishes up by the end of the race, but Phil Baracci, and I believe that's a Lima who came in as well there. So this leaves just White and Crimson in this battle pack. But further up the field, Prestagard and Avaronov, yes, I'll keep butchering that name all season. Avaronov in close to each other still. These two drivers have been at it basically since the start of the race. They've been almost glued together in this battle for like 4th and 5th at the minute, but it just takes a mistake from one of the drivers ahead of them, and they'll be right back in it for the podium positions. I think this is probably the closest, at least for the top drivers at the minute. A few penalties down. Whoa! What was going on there in the background? That was Abronov that lost a lot of time there to Prestagard, as we saw a car out in the side of the track. What was the 96, I believe that was. That's Perez, one of the back marking drivers who have received a stop go 30 for something, and he haven't been to the pits yet, so it's not for speeding in the pits, as he's just trying to let people through. I wonder if he was involved in the early contact, or if he have done something else in the race. But this is getting dicey down here. 4 cars within basically 3 car lengths. I think one of them might be a back marker though, but this is Phil Baracci, Lima and Ross. No, that's Phil Baracci, Lima and Puchapin, who's still at it after they have all served their pit stops. They came out close together, it looks like, but Phil Baracci got the jump on all of them, taking the front part of this small train. You could say it's the locomotive, the coal wagon, and then you can call the passenger car behind, or if it was a longer train, he would be the caboose, but a caboose on a short train like this might not be optimal for the train people out there who knows what a caboose actually is. I know it's not a musical instrument. Could be as well, but yeah, Phil Baracci going a little bit wide. They're losing a bit of track position, or space on the track, a few meters on the track, or yards for you people who count in weird measurements out there, inches or whatever measurement you choose to use. Obviously both imperial and and metric is available for measurement out there, but I prefer metric, to be perfectly honest, as I don't really understand the Imperial that well. But my camera guy, he does, and he will definitely be on my ass if I get it wrong at some point. Michael Thomas and Godias have pitted as well further up the field. Same goes for Ben Muller as they have come out on the track. I think they have pitted to come out in clean air. Also, we are at the halfway point of the race, just about a minute, which means that we are within the pit stop window for optimum strategy. So I think we'll see a lot of people diving in very shortly, at least reminding people up in the front of the field. If no one's going for a little bit of a glory run, trying to sneak up. Ooh, that's a car that spun around ahead of these guys. Put your pin. Ooh, 3 wide almost there with Phil Baracci in the middle, and Lima coming out on top of this group this time around, as we can go 3 wide almost into their contact. Whoa, that goes. I think that was Puchibin and Phil Baracci making the initial contact, and Constantina again to Lima there. Very unfortunate for these 3 guys who were having such a good battle between them up until that point. Abhi Nikarle came out in a provisional 17th, but still a few people ahead of him who needs to make a stop, as both White and Crimson goes into the pits that time around. Melis has spinned it a few times now. Yes, I think that runs to people whose surnames ends in Melis binning the car. No punch there for Bas, of course, as well, but yeah, Misha Melis in the number 1 car. A little bit of a crazy number to choose. But yeah, a lot of confidence in the number, of course, but maybe he's just one of the drivers who chooses lowest available. And if so, that one, of course, makes perfect sense of the number of choice for Misha Melis here. Well, with the pit stops from both Sarapov and Harapov and Prostengard done, which means that it's Abramov who takes provisional lead of the race. At the minute, but I hope that people can still hear me out there. Maybe I was just lagging for you when speaking, but the mighty YouTube, as it is not a good sign that we're getting a bit of lag here on the stream, but it is what it is. Sarapon still with the fast step of the race. Will Abramov dive into the pits this time around? I think he will going a little bit slowly there through a love field that usually means pit stop time, and it is boxing from the lead of the race from Abramov. Let's see where he will emerge back on track. If Van Dam doesn't go in, then he will take provisional lead of the race. Sarampo into traffic now. It is a 4th position on track. It is not a back mark ahead of him. I do believe that is Schubert ahead of Sarampa, or Sorenpo, as it might be pronounced in Finnish. So he will have to make this an actual overtake. He goes to the inside there, sending it up there much later on the brakes, as we can see the pace difference and probably also tire difference, as Sarapov have been into the pits, and you do have to change tires in this race. That is mandatory. In the bottom right hand screen we do see Abramov. He has not started moving yet. He will not come out in the lead of the race, but we will try and figure out where he emerges onto the track when he gets there. That was Sarapov and I think Michael Thomas, and Hipov might sneak through as well. Maybe Prestegard, we saw them being in battles early on. I think that was Prestegard that came through there as well, but we did see the big off. Yeah, that was Prestegard. So he comes out on track. I haven't seen Sim Spenkeling pass him yet, so I do believe that he comes out ahead of Sim and Vivard. As he does come out ahead of Sim and Vivard, as Sim only is going through Maggots and Beggots now, who have also saved his pit stop. But good on the strategy there from Sim, as he will probably go from 6th. No, well, he will be 6th now after the pit stop. So he have gained a lot of the pits, and the few drivers misfortune in the race as well. So yeah, this could be Sim's way into the championship fight, just collecting the points in the races where you win them all, basically. Well, if you're quick enough at all Max Verstappen, you possibly can, even though he didn't have the perfect season either. But it is just 3 races. But when you know that it's first or second, that will be enough to go through to the SRO Grand Finals, and just collecting the points will still be a thing, because there's always a chance that people ahead of you have a bad race as well, or they get shafted with a penalty at some point. Chris winning on the attack once again. It's wide ahead of him. Before it's Abi Nikele further up the track, as we do have the dual screening once again with Abi Nikele on attack onto the Braun livery car. I can't remember who's driving the Braun livery car now. It's Guidais. Yeah, it's Guidais driving the car. Of the somewhat resemblance of Braun livery on it. Again, questions for anything in the YouTube chat, we will try to answer them. Maybe about the championship itself, about next race or the upcoming races. Maybe even just about the upcoming races here on SSRI, as there's the Traction Thursday Cup if you want to get involved in racing with us. Multi-class GT3s and GT4s, I believe that is. And then we have the 2.4 race here on Friday. None of those are broadcasters events there, so we have a little bit of an off there from Abi Nikele. Seems like he lost all the pace of qualifying, but he does maintain control of the car and goes back onto the track and immediately can go back onto the offensive there. But as I was saying, we have the 2.4 here on Friday, and on Thursday the Traction Thursday Cup. 2.4 is a multi-class event as well. And then later on in the month, we will be hosting our final round of the Spring Endurance Championship. 6 hours of Zandvoort, that will be. With still room for entries for that event. So, or well, for all of the events, I think there's still a little bit of room for entries if you want to go racing with us in other races than just these SRO Grand Final qualifiers. No, we are back up, and I was totally not trying to sneak some water in there to chill down my throat. But we are right back with the racing, and as I was saying about the 6 hours of Zandvoort, come join us for the Friendly Community Endurance Racing. We will try and have broadcasting for that event as well, but there might not be a lot of commentary on it. We will see what happens with that one when we get there, but the more the merrier, of course. And if you're interested in getting involved in commentary or stewarding, then please do take contact to people in the admin team of SRI, or stewarding. You can just, or even commentary, you can just DM me, Oliver Anderson, in that, and we'll try and get something sorted. As we are back with the live racing, 22 minutes to go, as we just went on a little bit of a sidetrack there, talking about other community events that is coming up. As Andre Guidais are putting the pressure on Nick Vargas. Vargas also running quite high up the pecking order at the minute. And keeping up with Ben Muller as well is Nick Vargas, as we see a back marker there, showcasing very nicely how to get out of the way for faster cars when you are blue flagged. Good drive there from him. Nick Vargas having a great race so far, in 8th position. The BMW, 2nd place of the BMW cars, also after the pits. Sorry about that. Michael Thomas have gained a little bit on Sarah Sarenpo in the front of the field as well. As Abi Nikele have gone off again, and I think he has retired from the race this time. Very unfortunate for him, as he was very quick in qualifying, quick early in the race. But it just didn't seem to be his evening here on Silverstone this time around, as Vargas this time gets pressured from Guidais. Both cars that are quite easy to spot here on the cameras, the blue Mode 11 car of Nick Vargas and Guidais' Braun GP looking car. They are very close there, running into cars. Will any of them pull out? No, they go side by side into the corner. This usually doesn't end well, as they're technically both still on the track, it looks like. And Nick Vargas maintains position, at least at the minute. Through Maggots and Begets we go. filing into single file there. Gudais getting a better line there through. Will he have to run down the hangar straight? Does he get early enough on the power? Looks like he got it nicely there. But let's see, down the hangar straight we go. Will Nick Vargas feel the need to go defensive? He might have to, as Gudais is getting very close there, but just tucks in behind for now. Again, overtaking opportunities if he can get early enough on the throttle out, coming into to the corner after Vale, I think it is. He does go for it. Gudais there side by side, trying the old switcheroo and Nick Vargas. It does look like he succeeds with it, as Gudais gets up into 8th position and Nick Vargas demoted into 9th. Still close there, but lost a lot of time there to Ben Miller further up ahead, but I don't think Nick Vargas is done yet in this battle, as he will try to strike back as early as he possibly can. Though he did lose a little bit of time there on the run into to the loop there, sorry, to Village. But he gets there. Phil Bardacci gets a drive through. Could be track cuts, could be from the stewards. I think we'll try and get something sorted for next race, so we can have a little bit of a sneak peek on what they are posting of penalties. But yeah, Nick Vargas there losing the position to Gudais with just 20 minutes of racing left. That is not what the Mode 11 supporters out there wanted to see, and we all know that everyone is secretly a Mode 11 fan when it comes down to it. One of the teams that are quite known in the community, as well as they usually field quite a bit of cars for sprint racing, and more often than not multiple cars for endurance races. Bas Van Mellis, not the Van Mellis in this race, but Bas Van Mellis, we have seen in the YouTube chat, one of the more well noticeable community members and an admin of the Simsport Racing International, of course, who a lot of people will know there, as he does a lot of posting on Discord, as we see Matt Ross here in the most cursed number in sim racing history, the 101. It seems that there's a curse over the number of the 101 in the PSUK Esports car. We're having a little bit of a talk about this before the race, that anyone driving the 101 car, they will either have a massively good result with crazy sideways moments throughout the entirety of the race, or they will have the worst of luck in races. And it looks like that he's out there. No, it's not the pizza delivery car, the 101. It is Chris Hill, who is the pizza delivery man. We all know that he's supposed to deliver the pizza to the 101. I think you got something wrong there, Mr. Vegas out there. But you really can't remember the story, Mr. Vegas. I think we have told it like a million times in endurance races. We'll probably have to tell it again sometime soon when Stefan returns to endurance racing. I think there'll definitely be a feature on the car when he gets back to livery creations as well. But down here, Mr. Schubert and Vivard going into to battle, as they are within a second of each other for 21st position. Some might call it secondary, but these guys will definitely still be added for this. By the end of the day, all of these drivers are sim racing drivers. And those in here who are not like on esports level, who just bail on the race if things doesn't go their way, they will definitely be fighting their teeth out for every position in a race like this. They just want to go have fun, go racing, and maybe if they're lucky, sneak some top results. Whoop, that's Vivard going wide in the Mercedes, getting close there into oh, it's the McLaren. I keep looking at them, thinking McLaren Mercedes from the days of old, sort of say. But yeah, Schubert moves up into 21st position there. Oh yeah, it's actually true. There are no Mercs on the track, Justin DeJong, and that's actually quite interesting. It appears that no one really likes the Merc anymore. Apparently, that is a bit of a shame, because the Merc is a car that I have had a long history with. Both good and bad memories with the car, of course. But yeah, it is a bit of a shame that there are no Mercs here. Of course, Justin DeJong still likes it. One of the, I think maybe he'll become the, whoop, that's Van Dosberg, who's off, causing a bit of a yellow flag situation there. Maybe, ooh, don't get into our Italian friend. Maybe it's such a good car on Silverstone. Yeah, it actually is. You should have signed up, Justin. Why aren't you not racing, Justin de Jong? This would have been the race for you as Van Dosberg goes for another spin there. Almost collecting Vargas, or Vargas almost gets collected. In the process, I think that's Van Dosberg's race over. Just having a little bit of a look on the timing boards, seeing what we could possibly find of interesting things in the race. Goodnice actually gaining a bit on Mullard. It looks like the gap have gone back to over 2 seconds between Thomas and Sorapo in the front of the race. Yes, I'll keep pronouncing that name different every time I read it because of reasons. I assume it will be... now I lost where I have had the stream on my screen because I was checking telemetry and stuff like that. Nevertheless, the Nissan is still running of Crimson further down the field. I was, but I don't have time at the minute. No, Justin, you always have time for this, you know. You must have the time. You need the time. You need the time. Well, I know the feeling, Justin. It's only the drivers here who have managed to bend the time at the space continuum itself to find extra time for practice. We are not that lucky that we have those skills, unfortunately. But it is what it is, I assume. Yes, I had to say that. That's the catchphrase. Crimson actually trying to go for something here on Pelone. Crimson will know that Pelone have the 5-second time penalty, and Popochin ahead of him will have the 15 as well, so he could potentially gain 2 positions just by staying put. But again, these guys are racing drivers, so they will definitely be going for everything they possibly can. And yeah, they're just here for the fun. Some of them, I know that Crimson might just be here for the fun as he picked the Nissan. As he picked the Nissan, it didn't mean to come off like a strange thing. And Nissan is quite competitive at the minute once again, or finally have become competitive once again. This is a car that we all enjoy seeing out there, the Godzilla itself. Car with lots of speed. My pedals broke 3 weeks ago. Take a water break. No, I don't have time for that, Justin. You know that. You know that when I'm in the booth. It's only when the broadcasting equipment crashes that I have time for stuff like that. Crimson is still on the offense on Pelone, but then again, the trade-off with the speed of the Nissan are usually performance in the corners and braking. But that's how balance of performance works in these cars. And of course, we're running the LFM Bob that have tried to ensure that the cars are as equal as possible, as it is believed that the LFM Bob are a little bit better than the Kunos Bob. Well, I definitely agree on that, as we have a Nissan here on track. We probably wouldn't have that with the Kunos Bob, and it is good to see the car on the track. Bob obviously standing for the balance of performance. I could probably find some of the Bob figures just for the fun of it for this race. Basically, all the cars have ballast added to them, except for the Nissan that have a nice minus 26. That makes it somewhat competitive. The car with the most weight added to it would be the Audi of 23, which is a bit surprising. I would have thought the Ferrari, which is also quite nicely ballasted on 19, would have more. Just going through them, BMW have 2 kilos added. The Aston Martin 21, 6 kilos for both the Porsche and the Lamborghini. 2 for the McLaren, and I think that was all the cars out there. The Bob will change from track to track, depending on the car's strengths and weaknesses, of course, around the different circuits. So yeah, it goes how it goes on board in the mighty Nissan. And remember to enjoy the sounds of the Nissan out there on the YouTube channel. Great sounding car with this strange bit of it, so that you can see there that's counting up in a weird way. He does show himself on the inside. That now does Daniel Prince in the Nissan there on Pelone in his Aston Martin. Different lines through Lovefield. Onto the start finish straight we go. Just 11 minutes of racing left. So with the lead across the start finish line, we can probably do an estimation of laps to go in this race. Ooh, a little bit of a slide there from Crimson. Nicely held though in the big Godzilla Nissan. It obviously does have some JDM heritage, the Godzilla, with the ginormous rear wing on the back, not as big as on the original GTR GT3 car. Both cars opting to go for the 2 tires in the grass there through. Different from a driver. Yeah, there we see it. Also the old school mounting of the rear wing, still the T mount and not the reverse mount on that. Yeah, now we're getting a little bit technical with mounts of wings. The reverse mount is normally a little bit better for aerodynamics and stuff like that, but let's not get too nerdy. We can do that sometime later on in the season. For those who are wondering what the next 2 tracks are of this championship, we'll be going to Kyalami next week for what is that, 45 minutes of racing, still with the mandatory pit stop for tires, which will be an interesting one. And then 2 weeks from now we'll finish off the SSRI SRO qualifying championship for the grand finals at the mighty track of Suzuka. That will be a 1 hour 15-minute race, which on SSRI rules means that you don't have to change the tires in the pits, but you still have to come in for fuel as a minimum. You can change the tires if you want to. Also, the wind have picked up to 1 kilometer per hour, and it have gone overcast over the track. Just some small side notes there. Crimson still doing everything he can to apply the pressure. 10 minutes to go, which is about 5 laps of racing still to go in this race, depending on when the leader cross start finish line. Now I didn't pay attention to when he crossed it last time around, as Pilone is still yeah, with the view from the back of Pilone's car. And obviously the Pilone's team as well. I think that is very cool when people just use the last name as the team names. Brings good memories to both McLaren and Williams and other tradition names like that. And Reggie, of course, as well. Chip Ganassi, Ferrari, which we can't forget. But of course, Ferrari is. I was just about to say McLaren's not a manufacturer, but technically they are a privateer team in Formula 1, but they are manufacturer teams elsewhere. But yeah, there's a lot of those around. Well, basically all the teams, except for the ones that are sponsored by huge corporations. But yeah, leaders into Lovefield, so he'll cross the line. That'll actually be tight if on how many laps that he will go. If he'll go 3 or 4 more laps, I think he will go just 3 laps, as he'll have to do some massive lap times to get it up to 4 more of racing. But we will have to wait and see when he crosses the start-finish line. Like Oliver says, you also need the time to get some practice if you want to be really competitive. Yeah, well, if you want to be competitive, but who wants that, Justin? Just a quick warm-up and then it's all good. And then it's all good. You have the pace. We know that, Mr. Dijon. You can just go racing anything, anytime, anywhere, and be very, very fast. As the Pilone Crimson battle are no longer the only one that's close on track, as Godais have caught up to Ben Müller for 7th position as well. As Pilone actually made the. Oh well, he's still ahead of. But maybe Crimson have decided just to fall in behind and maybe just play the long game of taking the position after the race and not risking anything. They are doing loads mid for the 8th at the moment at the top of the field. Then they will just not make it onto that 4th extra lap, so it would have been free from when they crossed the line the last time. If my calculations will actually still be very close on that. We'll see when they cross it for the final time. Of course, there might be some strategy into it if Sarapot decides so, and if he can choose to, he'll go a lap shorter. Normally, the drivers will do that. Not because of fuel issues or anything like that, but just to ensure that they don't get overtaken on the final lap due to a silly mistake at any point. So we'll see what happens when we get there. as Godizer actually seems to be quite a bit quicker now than Piloni actually made the move on Crimson. Wasn't the Nissan ahead? No, it was behind before as well. As Piloni actually seems to Godizer seems to be a little bit it's weird with so many Italian names. It's hard to pronounce them and remember them. Seems to be slightly quicker than Ben Millard on some parts of the track, but that'll be the thing if he can actually find a place to get the move done. 5 minutes 30 on the clock as these drivers come across the start-finish line once again. In the bottom right-hand screen, the top left, there'll still be just 1.5 corners and a kink. So 1.7 corners it was until they go on to the start finish. Look at that different lines there. The Nissan getting onto it, but not early enough on the front there. That's a risk if you want to try that early on the front line. Then you really gotta be at it, because if you miss and get a little bit of wheel spin, then you lose so much time by trying to do so. This is also the point, if you haven't taken any track cuts yet, then you might be starting to push it as much as you possibly can at this point with the track limits as well. But if you have your free track limits, then you have to drive as safe as possible to avoid getting a late race drive-through and potentially dropping a lot of positions by the end of the race due to the time loss of the drive-through. But this is still at it down here. Piloni just having a little bit of a chill. I do think that Crimson at this point are just playing the safe game, as he knows that he will gain the free position on Piloni, and he will also be close enough to Putchapin to snag 12th position in the race, but they can't afford to lose too much time for that. Putchapin with the 15-second time penalty, but he is just 7 seconds from Piloni and up, so yeah, he's still they would have to slow each other down massively down here, make some sort of mistakes not to get there by the end of things. As Sim is up into 6th, just trying to have a look on the drivers who got in issues early on the race. I think most of the drivers who got issues of the quicker ones, they have chosen to retire, unfortunately, for the excitement here nearing the end of the race. These drivers will cross with just over 3 minutes of racing left on the clock. As we cross the start-finish line, it's about a 3.3 second lead between first and second at the minute. So we'll see what goes on there by the end of things. It could potentially still, if a mistake happens, get close up there, but yeah, it is unlikely with drivers on these levels that we have the split battle down there. That's Godizer that makes the move on Ben Millard and goes through. So Godizer takes the position of 7th in the race and demotes Millard into to 8th with not long left of the race. A little bit of argy-bargy it looked like there in the overtake. Chris Hill was very quick on getting that on camera there. Good jobs from the old grandpa behind the cameras. He's still quick, but they're still side by side between Millard and Godizer. This is very, he might just have given it back due to the argy-bargy of nature of the overtake and being a good sportsman there, Godizer, but he is very close to Ben Millard. He could be right back at it, coming down the Wellington Straight. They are very close going into Brooklands. Through Brooklands we go, and through Love Field. It's going to be an interesting one. Props around yes, then I think leaders on the final lap then probably. Yes, no, yes. What's the purple lap at the minute? Chris Hill will just tell me in the back of my ear. Purple lap? No, technically it's hard to say. The purple lap have left the server during this event, so it is a little bit difficult to see what purple lap is at the minute. And I've shut down the telemetry thing that I had going, because I usually don't use it during the race. Ooh, Backmark getting in the way there, making contact with Godice. Godice can't be helped that Backmark is parked at a very, very dangerous spot now. Hope nothing happens. So it's very... so it was the pole guy, yes, probably. Before he flopped the race, maybe, yeah. He did do a good job there, but of doing that. But he did try to recover for as long as possible until he just he got to a point where it probably wasn't fun anymore driving. So it was what it was. But we are on the probable final lap with 30 seconds. It will be close. Maybe get a little bit of a bottom right-hand screen of the race leader. There we go to see when he finishes the race. Sarah Pokin there from will take the race win in the McLaren. It looks like 10 seconds. Will he slow it? He will finish the race this time around. But the battles are still ongoing all around the track. Further down the field, as he has now come across the line to finish the race. Good drive there from Sarah Pokin. I do believe yes, he have finished. Michael Thomas in second, and Hirapov takes third position. As the racing is still going on further down the pecking order. Piloni here and Crimson, of course, still locked in for the battles on the final lap. And yeah, they will take it to the end. More people are finishing the race. I'll just run quickly through when these drivers have come across the line. Godice ends up behind Ben Mullert. By the way, he did manage to get the clean move done. Through Lovefield the final time. Will Piloni have the ice in the stomach to just cruise it through? He does. Looks like that he will take position. So Sarapon, race winner with Michael Thomas second. Hipov in third. That was your podium for you. Prestagard in fourth. Arponov fifth. Spenkelink in sixth position. Mullert in seventh. Good comeback drive from these two drivers. Godice takes eighth. Nick Vargas in ninth. Being in 10th, White 11th, Pochopin in 12th, Piloni 13th, Crimson in 14th, Lima in 15th, of course, as how that went, Barkstead in 16th, Van Dam, which is a great last name, love it, in 17th, Phil Baracci in 18th, Anna Solone in 19th, Ross in 20th, 21st goes to Shuk Vivard, Schubert in 22nd, Roman Nogol in 23rd, Jaya in 24th, and Andy King in 25th, who is the final driver to be classified in this event after a lot of people have run out or chosen to leave the server due to different retirements. Of course, we have gone on YouTube. Justin, always good to hear from you. Let's have a quick look and see if anyone comes in for commentary. I'm just on the wrong screens everywhere at the minute. Boom 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 boom. Yes, we have people coming in here, and race winner, I've probably butchered your name all evening. Saran Po, we have tried to call you. We've called you many names. We'll just go with Mattis. But yeah, congratulations of your win. A strong start to the championship. This was for you. Were you expecting this before the race?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you once again. To be honest, no, I wasn't expecting it. I knew I had good pace in pre-session training. But to be able to win it in this such a high quality grid, it's really great pleasure and not a surprise, but still I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting to fight in the top 5, top 3 maybe, but not to win. So yeah, really happy now.
Just being in the fight for this one, so close lap times wise throughout the entire field, especially in the top 5, top 10 even was close throughout the race and qualifying as well. Good move to snatch the first place in the race, and a good start to the qualifying rounds here to try and get the spot in the grand finals.
Yeah, let's try to keep this up in round 2 and round 3 hopefully.
Let's see about that. Next track will of course be Kialami for a much shorter race. 45 minutes of racing. Still the tire pit stops in that one. Are you a Kialami specialist?
I don't know a specialist, but it is one of my favorite tracks. So I'm really looking forward to it. And all in all, Silverstone, Kyalami, and Suzuka, I think they are very. Normally they have been very good tracks for me. So you have chosen very good tracks for this championship, and I hope it helps. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to race next week. Kyalami is a nice track and such a close racing always there.
Yeah, and good overtaking opportunities, and a good start to the championship for you. Moving on to P2 in the race, Michael Thomas, defending GT3 champion, not taking the optimum result here. Are you happy about second, Michael?
Yes, actually. The BMW does not handle very well around this track, so it was a surprise to be P3 based on the practice times. I know that some of the guys could have put in faster laps for sure. So to be P3 in quali I was really happy with. And then yeah, the guy in the Ferrari, Sammy, I believe, he did not have a very good start. So Matthias had a very good start, and then it was just a matter of trying to keep up with Matthias, which was very, very hard. Because the cars have different strengths in the track, and one mistake from me in the BMW, I just lose lots of time. But yeah, decent, happy with it. Overall, the best driver won today, so that's good.
And speaking of the BMW, it did seem to struggle a bit through the corners, but a rocket in a straight line, it didn't seem that overtaking was the biggest issue for you in this one. And for your fellow BMW drivers out there.
It was just about trying to get as close as possible, and obviously through the first sector, it's really difficult, especially when you're following closely. You just need to get that good exit. But yeah, I wasn't close enough to Matthias at any point to set an overtake, so yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, Kialami next time for you as well. We presume you'll be there, of course, but Kialami, good track for you, Michael.
No, really, really bad. My worst track.
So we are looking very much forward to seeing you pinning it in Cheetah around that track at some point during the race.
I did that 3 times on Sunday night at a race there. 3 times went off a Cheetah in the race, so yeah, that was fun.
So you hopefully learned from a lesson. Anyways, moving on to third in this race, Andre Hipaufu. We probably also butchered your name quite a few times this evening. Surprised that you are still alive with the amount of butchering that we have been doing out there. P3 in the race. Good start for the championship for you, or not? How do you look on finishing third in the first round?
I mean, it's a good start. I wasn't that happy about my pace, but in the end, it's P3 also. I'm happy.
That is good to know. We did see a good amount of battling for you as well during the race with, I think, was it Prestagard during the race? Probably it was. Were you at any point concerned about whether or not that the podium was within reach during the race, or did you always see it as it was a very achievable goal? I don't know why I'm just mumbling now. Basically, did you come into the race with expectations of top 3ing in the race, podiuming it, or maybe even winning?
Not really. My quali was really not that great, only P6, and I thought that's it. Maybe P4, but nothing more.
Yeah, but we did see you being very quick on practice servers earlier on, but very tight lap times. Did you find it difficult to gain progression in the field? Of course, you were a little bit helped by some people who decided to crash out.
Yeah, I mean, I all the time had problems with the pace on Silverstone, so I'm quite happy that some people crashed and I had some free positions.
Yeah, because that's sometimes all you need to do well in championships. Other people's unfortune or misfortune can be your own luck. Kialami next time, we assume to see you as well with such a good start to the championship at Kialami. Good or bad track?
In general good, but only in Porsche. It's gonna be a hard race in the McLaren.
Yeah, we have not been known as a strong track for the McLaren Kialami, but we have seen it's possible to do quick lap times, but difficult to race the car there, so it does lack a bit of a bit of speed down the straights and even top drives. In a field like this, the McLaren might not be the optimum car for that track, but we assume to see you there giving it your all to try and maintain the pressure on the two championship leaders at the minute. Do you fancy your own chances to finish in the top 2 in the championship just before we round off?
I think it's all about Kyalami. If this race is good, then maybe. But I'm not sure yet.
Nevertheless, we do get some good fun racing. This was a great evening on racing here on the SSRI Sim Racing Sport International YouTube channel. The first qualifying round of the SSRI SRO Grand Finals Qualifying Championship have been done and dusted, and we are about to shut off here from the stream. Remember to tune in next week for the 45 minutes of Kyalami. Same place, same time. I have been Oliver Anderson, Mr. One of Oliver, and behind the cameras have been Grandpa Chris Hill as always. Hit the like and subscribe button.